Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Backlog Bunker. This is going to be another short week because, once again, all I really played was Fire Emblem and Resident Evil 4, and not only was it not recording when I was playing Resident Evil 4, I wouldn't really have much to say anyway. I just did the section where you and Lewis have to do that shootout in the cabin, which is really fun, by the way, but I don't really have much to say about it other than that it was really fun. But in terms of Fire Emblem, I beat Blazing Blade, and it was a game. It was a fine 7 out of 10. The thing to me with tactical RPGs is that they've got to have some amount of mechanical depth for me to be able to really call them great games. And while Blazing Blade has a lot of strategical depth because the game is pretty tough, it doesn't really have a lot of mechanical depth because it's mostly just you hit the other guys with your guys. To compare it to Fates, the game that I started playing after I beat Blazing Blade, Fates takes Awakening's pair-up system and it makes it way less RNG focused, so there's a lot more planning that can go into, for example, when you pair up certain units, who you pair up, if you pair them up at the beginning of the map, or if you want to keep them separate at first. Even something as simple as the choice between do I want to have 2 units that can act independently, or 1 really strong unit that can act, gives the system more mechanical depth than, Blazing Blade, for example. And that's not even talking about all the mechanics that pairing up has in and of itself. Even to compare Blazing Blade to a completely different game, like XCOM, every unit in XCOM can do very wildly different things, and so team composition matters way more, and so does every individual choice. Like, aside from doing more damage or having a higher crit rate, there isn't any real reason to pick one unit over another when choosing, to hit a guy in Blazing Blade. Whereas in XCOM, choosing between a guy who uses a shotgun and a guy who uses a minigun can be a very important distinction, especially when you get even deeper into the game and you get very specific skills on certain weapons, like the guy with the minigun having a lower hit chance, but he uses holo targeting, which gives everyone else in the squad a higher hit chance. So that's what I'm talking about when I mean mechanical depth in a tactical RPG, and Blazing Blade just doesn't really have that. People swear up and down this is one of the better Fire Emblem games, but so far, I've not heard a single person actually be able to give me a good reason why. But that's enough for Fire Emblem, so let's move on to the weekly topic, which is, again, fighting games, and the fact that casuals will never ever appreciate them, and it's impossible to make them do so fighting game devs should stop trying. This time around, the very specific instance is Invincible Versus, and the fact that the training mode does not display the actual controller button when giving you combos, but instead gives you the button option, I guess is the way to call it. So instead of saying L1, it will say the assist button. People have a problem with this because instead of just going into the menu and being like, oh, assist is L1, they get up in arms and are like, how am I supposed to remember that this button does this thing? Games have adaptive controller sensing now, why don't they just show me what the button is? However, anyone who's ever actually played a fighting game before knows that it has nothing to do with what the actual controller is. Even if the fighting game was exclusive to PlayStation, it still wouldn't be good to show L1. This is because fighting games have, for a very long time now, allowed you to remap your controls. It would be kinda stupid to show, hey, this thing is L1, when someone might have L1 set to a completely different button. On top of the fact that when we're talking about tutorialization, it is far better to show a player what a button does than to tell them just that it's a button. Learning when to use an assist in a combo is going to come way more naturally when you can look at a list of a combo and go, oh, that's where you use assist, as opposed to just pressing what it tells you, because then you're not learning anything, you're just following instructions. All of this is besides the fact that some games actually do have adaptive buttons. Guilty Gear gives you the option of showing the button functions like punch, kick, slash, RV slash, or showing the actual controller buttons. And yet, the casuals don't really seem to be sticking to Guilty Gear Strive all that much. It's kind of weird. It's almost as if, and now walk with me here, it's almost as if casuals have never liked fighting games and will never like fighting games, and every excuse they give to explain why they don't like fighting games is either not true or not accurate. For as much as I hate the inflation of the gaming industry, ironically I think one of the few genres that can benefit from the higher levels of presentation are fighting games, because as Dragon Ball FighterZ has shown us, as long as you make a fighting game look cool, people will want to play it. Obviously it gets a bit of a buff from being, Dragon Ball, because they're putting Daima Goku in, and he doesn't look very good, but people are still clamoring for him anyway, so guess it doesn't really matter all that much. But maybe that just means you should give people what they want and you'll see more consistent success. But hey, what do I know? That's really it for this week, so, get out of here.